This morning, the U.S. military is on the move towards Iran, and it appears that Donald Trump is preparing for a strike. Take a look at the latest headlines with me so you can see it for yourself. Coming out today, January 16th, 2026. Map shows the USS Abraham Lincoln's path towards Iran as the protests continue. Also, the U.S. aircraft carrier en route to the Middle East as Iran tensions rise. And I shared with you last night, U.S. sending military assets to the Middle East as Trump weighs an Iranian strike. Sources say we're hearing he is setting up the pieces in place. And yesterday at the UN, the U.S. warns Iran that all options are on the table, that they could strike. Now, take a look at this. Gulf allies, they are pushing to avert a U.S.-Iran conflict amid the protests. According to reports, they are saying, please do not do this. It could disrupt conflict all throughout the region and pull in various different nations. But take a look at this. We're hearing that Iran's exiled crown prince, he has implored Donald Trump to strike. This coming out 3 hours ago. He actually made this plea today, just a couple of hours ago. And we're hearing that right now, as we speak, Mossad director has visited the United States for Iran consultation. We're hearing that there could be plans for a strike in the works, making sure they get all the pieces in place correctly. And take a look. A couple of days ago, I let you know, 48 hours ago, Iran issued a sickening assassination threat against Trump amid the threats of a potential strike. They said this time it will not miss the target, talking about a bullet hitting Donald Trump in an assassination attempt that will be coming from Iran. And yesterday, we heard that Donald Trump said that his finger is on the trigger for a potential strike against Iran, and Iran responded, we will cut off Trump's hand and his finger. The Iranian generals have responded. So there's a lot of conflict in the Middle East, and on top of that, things are escalating surrounding Greenland. Trump says that he may punish countries with tariffs if they do not back the U.S. control of Greenland. And European troops are now arriving in Greenland as talks with the U.S. highlight disagreement over the island's future. So there is a lot of conflict that is unfolding today, January the 16th, 2026. And let me know your thoughts. Should Donald Trump strike Iran? If you think so, put yes. If you think no, put no. Let me know your thoughts. But I'm going to dive right in. We have got a lot of video footage and articles to be covering today. We're going to get right to it. If you appreciate the updates, hit that thumbs up like button for me. Subscribe to stay up to date. And all the articles and additional resources are going to be linked in the description below so you can see them for yourself. But with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the video clips that have been coming out overnight and this morning so you can see the latest. And Iran is responding, saying, if you strike us, we will strike you right back. And they're also threatening the life of Donald Trump, saying they're going to cut off his fingers, his hands, and they're going to assassinate him. This time the bullet won't miss. But we're hearing that the United States, they are planning a strike as we speak. There is nothing that is off the table at this point. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the video footage.
Breaking tonight, President Trump is still weighing a wide variety of options, military options, to target Iran over its deadly crackdown on anti-government protesters. Fox News tonight can confirm military assets are moving toward the Middle East after a recent withdrawal of Navy firepower in the region. Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin has that story. Good evening, Jen.
Good evening, Brett. Well-placed official sources tell me U.S. military assets are preparing to move to the Middle East, likely to include at least one aircraft carrier and additional missile defense systems that will operate from air, land, and sea. Iranian state media posted tonight a message to President Trump. You hit, we hit. The U.S. military had presented strike options for President Trump to consider, but could not guarantee the regime would be overthrown. The president reportedly wanted assurances that any military action would be swift, decisive, and not lead to a wider war in the Middle East. The U.S. military posture in the Middle East was not ready for a decisive strike. It had no aircraft carrier in the Middle East for the first time in years because the Pentagon ordered the USS Ford to the Caribbean. Just 3 destroyers and 3 littoral combat ships were in the Middle East as of Wednesday, half the number of U.S. warships currently stationed in the Caribbean near Venezuela. Any aircraft carrier would take 1 to 2 weeks to get to the Middle East. The U.S. also removed some of its anti-missile batteries out of the Middle East following last summer's strike on Iran's nuclear sites. Those could soon be returning. As for what the U.S. military options look like, experts say the president still has a lot of firepower in the Middle East, including an Ohio-class submarine capable of firing up to 154 Tomahawk missiles. Regime targets could include missile production and storage sites, oil refineries key to their economy, or some of the leaders themselves. How Israel decapitated Hezbollah.
The Israelis used cyber attacks to bring leadership together so that they could bomb and kill the leadership. So there are multiple tools that can be used in different ways to cause these very same kinds of problems to this regime.
Today, the State Department announced new sanctions on Fardis Prison, where many female political prisoners are held. Ali Larijani, head of the Supreme Council for National Security, and 18 individuals or entities linked to a shadow banking network involved in laundering the regime's oil revenues. Brett?
And Jen, another topic. What have you learned about this weapon purchased by DHS that may be linked to Havana syndrome?
Well, Brett, a well-placed source confirms to Fox that at the end of the Biden administration, DHS bought on the open market a pulsed energy weapon that the Pentagon has been testing to see if it could have caused the traumatic brain injuries reported by hundreds of U.S. intelligence and State Department employees who've experienced acute, debilitating symptoms while serving overseas. The victims suspect a foreign adversary and feel there has been a U.S. government cover-up. And now House Republicans are launching an investigation into what DHS knows about this weapon. Brett?
Okay, we'll follow that. Jen?
There you have it, you guys. Now, we're also hearing that there was some sort of strange weapon that was used in the capture of Maduro in Venezuela as well. And we're hearing that that just unfolded. So a lot of people saying it might not be wise for Iran to be taunting the United States and threatening Donald Trump at this time. But we've got more video footage. This coming out in just the past couple of hours, just a little while ago. Let's take a look at these updates.
Clearly, the president has made a statement. His credibility is on the line. And listen, when he gives his word, he executes. And that is simply to hold the people that are accountable for what they have done to their own citizens in killing them. That is his promise to the people that have been on the street out there willing to risk their lives, and in thousands of cases, that is exactly the tragedy that has taken place here.
That was a really good interview earlier today on Fox and Friends with General Jack Keane. He said a lot of things there, and it sounds like he's bullish on the action right now in Iran. The question is, what do you do? And how do you make it effective? Again, Iraq to the west, Afghanistan to the east, Tehran, the capital city. This is the positioning now for the main aircraft carriers the United States has. The Ford is off the coast of Venezuela. The USS George Washington is here in the South China Sea. We've got another group off the coast of San Diego and one off the coast of Virginia. For all of these assets, it would take about a week to get in position here off the coast of Iran and the Persian Gulf. This is a list now, about 18 different bases, military bases that the United States runs through southern border of Turkey and Iraq and all over Saudi Arabia and Oman. So that's our positioning. Here's Kurt Volker, former U.S. ambassador to NATO. In fact, he's in London today, getting a sense of what the Europeans are talking about. Sir, I want you to address what Jack Keane is saying there, but listen to Lindsey Graham on Thursday on the Hill. Watch here.
Okay.
People are being slaughtered in the streets. If that's not a distraction, that's a moment where we need to act. The idea we're dealing with the most vicious regime on the planet who desires to destroy the state of Israel, kill us, purify Islam, make it radical from every pole to every pole is not a distraction.
Okay, what's the answer?
Well, look, I think they both make a good point. I think President Trump is serious when he is expressing those very concerns that Lindsey Graham raised about the people of Iran. They're out there. They are getting arrested. Some of them are getting killed. It is a huge regime crackdown. And I think President Trump is serious about that. As you pointed out, the assets are not all in the region. But even more to that point, if you're in President Trump's shoes, you're saying, what can I do that is effective? I mean, I can launch military strikes. I can hit some of the regime headquarters. Maybe I hit the Ayatollahs. Maybe I hit the governing leadership or the security services. Does that topple the regime? Do they strike out against U.S. presence, U.S. forces in the region, all those bases you pointed out with terrorist attacks? What can I do that I know is going to be effective and that will actually help save those people? Thus far,